That's been kind of a recent thing, I think, with, what's his name, Mark Wahlberg, and what's the name of that, the organization? Can't remember. Anyways, they're making an effort. That's kind of where it starts.
Mhm.
Starts by wearing your ash on your forehead, not your.
Yeah, and then remember that I did have ashes on my forehead for the next 364 days.
Well, at least the next 40, okay?
Next 40.
Well, yeah, let's think about the next 40 first, then we'll get to the rest of it. Then
That's
we
right.
got the 6 week, the Holy Week, and we got the 6 weeks after,
Trying to decide whether I'm actually gonna do the vigil this year or just do Easter Sunday.
was being the lead, and also I'll be at every one of the masses from Thursday on.
I mean,
Wow.
you should be.
And I'm the
vigil.
I do all the setup.
Yeah.
I'm the MC because I have a title called Acolyte. I get to participate up there. And, okay, here we go.
No, I was just thinking about.
But
Follow the rules, the vigil is supposed to
Yeah,
start
you
about
could.
9:08 this
Yeah.
year.
yeah, but last
Say that
year,
again, I didn't quite
The
understand.
Easter vigil
Oh.
will start at
You should-
9:08
Just
when
share
it
your
gets
screen.
dark enough to light
That's how I do the
the
presentation.
I see.
fire.
Yeah.
Advance the presentation.
The thing-
Fine.
but last year they gave an hour early exception if you wanted to take it.
Yeah,
So,
we did, actually, St. Phil's, we did. We started at 8:00.
well, I know we did too.
For
Yeah,
Dan.
but this year we've got a new priest.
When is your meeting?
So
You wanna-
I have over the last 4 years with the Father Don there, I kept my notes and my outline said, here's, it wasn't for him, it was for me. So, I'm supposed to do what, when, what? And I kept elaborating, including all his stuff in there. So I have a complete outline. I just handed it to our new priest and our new DNR or whatever. I said, here was the plan. You tell me what you want to change, I'm just here to serve.
Good resource.
Yeah, well, I do that way. Because you think, are we going to remember this from year in and year out? No. But I have it in 3 different sources. Here it is in hard copy. And it's also it's on my computer, but it's on the parish's. She's got it too. So
Not your fault if it's lost.
if it's lost, it's not my problem.
You wanna learn that?
Okay.
I got 3:00.
Yep. You got pretty close, so like.
Well, I've got another 30 seconds. No, it's whatever. Okay.
This is my rewrite.
Oh, okay.
This is just like the front.
The old master plan, probably have a record of it, yeah.
There you go. All yours.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Didn't include the pledge of allegiance in the order, so. Roll call.
You're all here.
We are on it.
Keith's here and Charles is here.
Yeah.
Any changes or that you'd like to make to the agenda for today's meeting?
No,
Good.
Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda. Anybody have a conflict of interest with anything on today's agenda?
No,
None, we'll move on. And public comment from anyone in the gallery? Hearing none, we'll move on to the first discussion item, review of the draft bylaws amendment.
I don't know which agenda you got, but I have approval of the June 5th, 2024 executive session minutes.
That's not on the agenda I printed off.
It's on this
I
one.
saw it was included in the package, but I didn't.
It's on this one I'm looking at.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then I'm working with the wrong. agenda.
Well, that's the only thing that you probably got the first one, and then I was reminded of that, and so,
thank you.
okay,
That's on the agenda that's out in the lobby as well.
okay. Okay, but that's the only thing that changed.
Okay.
If we pass a message in your packet, I was gonna make them up and then I realized that, well, I found them, so online, so they were included in your final packet. I hope you don't have them.
It's been so long since we had that.
Oh, I know. In fact, that's the only time that, the executive committee has met since I've had my time with you.
Does anybody have any comments or changes on those
If you want to say them real quick, I mean,
5 minutes? I don't really have mine in front of me. I thought I saw.
and there was only, we really only talked about, you know,
Honestly, don't remember the meeting that well, that I would know that I'm missing something or something should be a change. So,
yeah.
anybody have any changes to these minutes? Actually, neither of you guys were at that meeting. That's right, Vicky. All right, let's just say we approve these minutes. Consensus?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, why don't you, it's probably best that you put motions. I'm
I
sorry.
make a motion to accept the bylaws as written.
No,
No.
no,
Or the
the minutes,
minutes.
the June
Okay.
5th, 2024 executive session minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
second,
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
I,
Any opposed?
Thank you. Okay,
All right, moving on to the bylaws revisions.
okay. As I explained in my cover memo, and I try to highlight what were the two specific areas that you wanted, that you requested that we look at to make some changes on, so I wanted to make sure I highlighted those, and we did that. But as I was reading through these, there are some other questions that came up that I just wanted to make sure that we got covered. And a lot of it was more grammar, you just changing a couple other things. And if you like, I'll start on the first page and just go through them if you would like. Does that help or?
Well, I mean, I have a question on the section that you changed. Essentially, once tentative minutes have been prepared and reviewed by the commission secretary, they will be distributed to all commission members, the county board of commissioners. And then it says, and posted on the county's website.
Correct.
Okay, then the next statement says, once the tentative minutes have been approved, they will be posted to the county's website.
Correct.
So they're posted twice.
They're correct, because the first go around is tentative. They haven't been approved.
Okay.
Nothing is happening until the board approves their minutes. All I was doing is I took the word draft out, because that was the word that was there. And I took the word draft out because we don't use draft. The county uses tentative. So we prepare the minutes, we get them ready, and we post them as, okay, here are the tentative minutes that will be considered for approval. So they sit on the website, and the moment that they are approved, the word tentative is taken off. Those sets of minutes are gone, and the finals are put on the website. So.
What is the general plan? That's a plan put together by the
Okay.
planning department?
oh, I have something to add to that before we move on.
Okay.
In the second line where it says distribute, it should be distributed.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Okay, and under duties where you have a note that what is the general plan? I'm trying to remember if it's called general plan or master plan for Leelanau County, but it's put together by the planning department. And they are currently working on the new one.
Okay, then I will check because I want to get that more definitive than just saying general plan.
Okay.
Here's the deal. I don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. And I'll put a question mark over there, say county's master plan. Okay,
Your county doesn't have a Parks and Rec commission. The Parks and Rec information is part of the
Correct.
county's master plan.
all right, but I want to make sure that that's what we're, if that's what you remember, then that's what I'll go and find out. Okay.
I was actually involved in either the last one or the one before that's master plan.
Okay, I will find out, but thank you. That's why I was asking the question, you know, what is it? Hope that y'all would know. You go down, the rest of that page, the only one is that I decided to capitalize chairman. The next one on, you go to the next page. Here's where I was getting in here in a conflict of interest. You have this whole item here of conflict of interest, but we have a county policy that covers that. Shouldn't we be just refer to that county policy instead of having all this written down? Because the county policy dictates. And I attached the county policy to this so that you can take a look at it. Because, and the reason I bring this up, we had an incident in the last year with another group that had been formed. And all of a sudden, wait, everything is done according to the county policy. And so you don't have your own conflict of interest. You got to follow the county policies.
So you get put in the refer to the county.
Well, and that's how I wrote it.
He added it in there, but
I'll add it in there, or I'll say as per county policy 2.01 attached. I can do it that way too.
Simple.
But there's no, I just didn't see the reason of having all this other verbiage in there.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
okay.
Okay,
I have no problem with striking out that, it's just, because then you have to, every time you review this thing, you have to make sure it's still in compliance with the
Mhm.
yeah,
current
this-
policy.
yeah. But if we attach it to this, then, you know, okay, then I'll put it in there as attached. Thank you. And then we get to the next page. Again, minutes, I wanted to make sure that, you know, we are staying with the same thing. Saying the same thing, 10 minutes be available for 8. We did say what days, are they 8? Because it just had days, 8 days. Does that count weekends? Not count weekends. So I thought it would be best if I put in 8 business days, days that we're working. And then again, to give everyone time to get it done, instead of saying 5 business days for the final minutes, in case there's some major changes that have to take place, give us, 7 business days to get that done in case we hit a week.
So you're
Hit a
gonna
week.
change the written word 5 to a written word of 7.
Correct. I need to do that. I just put in the number.
So business days, if there happens to be a holiday within that, that's not even counted.
That's correct.
Agreed.
Anybody got any comments on any of that? Shall we move on to?
Oh, the other thing, up toward the top, I apologize. Under the public notice, we talk about publishing in a newspaper general circulation, which we have to do in the county. But I'm also want to put in there that we will also publish this on our county's website, just, so it's where that's at. So
Okay.
next one I got to was on the secretaries, and I thought and this is where I got a little confused here. Where we're asking the secretary shall work with the county administrator to record and transmit all minutes of all the Parks and Recreation Committee meetings in accordance with these bylaws. Okay, that's pretty clear up in the earlier section. But then, and shall be responsible for all correspondences and noticings pertaining to meetings of or other business. That's what we do in the administration office. That's our job to do that. It's not,
Yeah.
if it is, we're gonna say, okay, come in here, you gotta get it on there. Don't look at us. if you follow what I'm saying there, it's not making, you're asking her to do things that's not within her line of work, that's in our line of work, and that's taken care of up in the very beginning. So I thought that, what I was thinking is that you should, take out from the and,
And strike from and shall be responsible for.
shall be responsible for all correspondence and notices pertaining to meetings and other business. In that of the parks, we leave it in there, take that out. Then a recording secretary, I need to change that word from may be utilized, because we may do it in-house. We may not hire anybody. I mean, unless you counted me as being here.
The recording secretary is the person doing the function, whether they're in-house or out.
Okay, fine.
Still the recording secretary,
Got it.
provided by the administration department.
Got it. Okay, then we'll just leave that alone. So all I'm saying, I've highlighted what I want to take out. What I've recommended that we take out. So, because I think it's already covered under other sections.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, where it says notices pertaining to meetings or other business. We have a separate park, committees. So the other business.
Well, the other business, there really is no other business that you have unless you have a public meeting.
Okay.
And that's it. Now, if there's a notice that we got to put out, that all gets here. Like there's a discussion that Lauren and I were having this afternoon about, I know it came up to you about, do we need to start scheduling or come up with a schedule, like if these groups are going to be out there? Because right now, the law, the way it's written, first come, first serve. So if someone's out there going to use the soccer fields for a game, but someone's already out there playing, says, no, we were here first. You can't. So I can't get that done, but I know Lauren's got it on her list to meet with the next administrator to go in. Is there something more formal that we may, as starts getting busier, especially out at Miles Kimberly, we may need to be more formal about, yes, we want it to be used. We want it to be used for the games and for the leagues. It is. But all of a sudden you get people coming in and say, no, we were here first. How did you get it? Why do you? I don't know. And that's a question that we may want to.
Is there signage out there now that says is reservable, or is it?
I don't know. No, there's
The
nothing.
thing really is on the website, it says the facilities of parks and of Leelanau County parks are on a first come, first served
Oh,
basis.
okay.
That's it, which gets you away from having to police it and all this other stuff.
Well, it is.
So-
And plus the whole idea is that we're having organized groups going out there. We're not talking about the occasional little, the family size we have to the afternoon, but now we got groups out there using the facilities and somebody gets hurt. How do we know that they have the resources to cover their own injuries? So park, that's your problem. You got to pay us. I don't know. These get to be bigger questions in today's society, but it's going to be more. But so that's the other business. Other businesses that if your park subcommittee wants to meet, we need to make sure all that gets posted. And we're going to talk about that we may want to post sub meetings on the day that you're all going to meet anyway, so that you can elect your officers. Who's going to be the chair and start working through that. Doesn't mean you have to meet. It just means that when you do, it's all right there, because that's it. So
as secretary, I should attend all of the sub meetings?
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
that's why we want to get rid of that. We don't want you to attend all those meetings, because the way we have set it up, that we don't have a recording secretary. We give you an outline, you fill in the blanks, and then
Okay.
she can be, and those meetings are they're more general than the minutes I put out. Very general. Here's what you talked about. Here's a recommendation you're going to make, so that's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you
Okay,
for the
okay.
clarification.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, County Facilities Director, we removed the Parks Coordinator Caretaker, because now this is all falling under the County Facilities Director. This was the other item that you brought up, Charles, that we need to look at. So we included some things in here. Shall be responsible for the purchase of items, labor, and projects recommended by the Parks and Rec Commission outside of daily maintenance items. You don't want to have to worry about everything like time we go buy a quart of oil. That's not what you want to know. But if there's something that's major, like removing of a pit toilet, you want to know about that. You want to have that discussion up here in advance, that is happening, such like that. But going after, we're going to mow grass next week, that's normal maintenance. That's us that's taking care of it. And it then sent on to the county commissioners, county administrator, and or the board of commissioners. So what I'm saying, if the county administrator can deal with it under the authority that individual has, great. If not, it's going to have to go to the board of commissioners. So, we're trying to make sure it gets clarified where this is going to happen. Facility will report on a monthly basis to the commission of anything of major projects. We also, if a situation that cannot wait for the commission to meet, the facilities director will contact the chairperson and the county finance director. We took out the county clerk because this was written when the county clerk was handling finances. So we do this county. And then the facilities director will make sure all contractors work at the parks that are not currently employed will have insurance in accordance with the law. So I think that's covered most of that stuff for you. So that's what we're doing. On the next one, again, it's facilities director. We take it from there. We get down to compensation. There's nothing there. Commission budget and appropriations. All expenditures shall be in compliance with the county's budget rules for that fiscal year. You have a copy of them. Every year, we're going to make sure you get a copy of it at your organizational meeting. Hopefully, they don't change a whole lot, but here's the structure, how we do things. That way, it's a reference, and you can do that, and that gets done. The other one, money so accepted shall be deposited with the county treasurer in a special non-reverting Parks and Recreation Commission fund. I don't know if we have one of those. So
Never heard or seen one used.
yeah. And so I want to meet with the treasurer to see if that makes sense or doesn't make sense, or if there's another thing we can do or hold it some other way. And I haven't had a chance to do that. And then, of course, we have the county treasurer shall draw against this special non-reverting fund only upon a warrant from the county finance director as directed by the commission and signed by the chairperson. So this is all when you get your when you get those special donations.
So this is as directed by the commission. Is that the Board of Commissioners or the Parks and Rec Commission?
That's a good question. Which commission we're talking about? It's used.
Which chairperson?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be the county commissioners,
right,
but up on your recommendation. Okay. I think that's the proper channel. I think you're right on
I think
that.
that's what we've done in the past.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I will make that correction that way too, and change the other little upon warranted. I'll probably put it in as recommended and directed by the Parks and Rec Commission and approved by the County Commission. Okay, that'd be fair enough. The question I have here is on the Parks and Recreation Volunteer Coordinator. I know you said that hopefully next year it's going to be in the budget. I wouldn't hold your breath on that one.
Well, I mean, we put in the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
That we will, work with the various groups and whatnot. We will form a volunteer friends of the park for each of the parks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the resource to do that?
Yeah.
What's the resource to keep track of it? Well, that's,
Okay.
to me, it's this person.
Okay. Well, I think that you can leave it in there. It's been in there for, the last time these were updated, and approved was back in 2017. So I might put something in there in accordance with the master plan, something like that, that there's some basis of why we're doing it. Okay. Basis. Okay. And then, it all comes down to yearly budget. So,
Yeah.
okay. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I assume it's not a full-time job, so be putting some hours on someone.
Yeah, okay. And then, brother, the last thing I did down on minutes under the bylaws, I wanted to make it clear because last year, I think you did some amendments and it didn't get approved by the county commission and, or I don't know what happened to it, but I just wanted to make it clear that all amendments have to be approved by the county commission. So those were my thoughts as I was reading through it. See, Charles, you started me on this. If you hadn't made any recommendations, I would have let know. But I just thought it would help for more clarifications as you guys move forward. So
So the next steps on, well, first of all, you guys got anything else to add to this discussion?
No,
sounds good. Well, thank you for putting.
So the next step will be you finalize the draft here, we go to the full commission for them to.
Yes, and then it'll be,
Commissioners to approve it.
yes, and that'll happen in April, and I won't be here, but I can write up the final EDS after you approve it and recommend it. And if I have to come back, don't make me do that.
Until sometime at the end of May, even though the other guy was showing up.
You still gotta have that cup of coffee.
You can always, you can appoint him to a position.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
That's it.
that's good enough. No, I appreciate it, folks, get this, to help you get this done. Okay, thank you.
Moving on to the Savin Lake Services, or the recommendation for this year is going to be, and I think that's up to Patrick to talk about.
Yeah, Patrick, and I turned this over to Patrick to go through, and for the main reason is he's the one that's gonna have to implement and back it up and see what we had, so.
I'll take these.
But the main thing we also have done is that we do have, at least was on Saban. We do have, I did get a copy back from him as it relates to the right titles. Instead of going to an individual, it's now going to the county through them, and it's got to go through you. So it's not going to like Steve, which I understand the why, but now we're just doing it in a more proper order.
Drain Commissioner,
Yeah, I got it.
the logical link.
Yeah, very logical.
So I did a deep dive into all this, a little research project, and I went so far as to watch old YouTube recordings of the meetings that referred to these, and I had a great folder here. The gentleman I talked to, gosh, now I can't remember his name.
From Savin
No, not from Savin.
or Dave Barron's.
That's the one. I called Dave on the phone and we had a 45-minute conversation. He did his best recollection, and then between that and the YouTube videos, and then I also reached out to Heather Hettinger. And so I got the history of what was done. And I don't know how much up to speed, what was done in the 2 or 3 years past. I can give you that brief history if you like. Or you want me to just?
Well, I think I read your letter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
everything's in their package.
Okay, all right, good. Then basically the recommendation that I got from Heather is that these ponds are too small to treat chemically, and that they end up doing a lot more damage by treating them chemically. Essentially, all these ponds really need is some manual cleaning to get the surface growth off the surface so that you can have a good kids fish day. That was the biggest concern. That's the event that these ponds need to be kept good for. Other than that, they manage themselves.
Okay, so the algal growth, like in the duck pond, is not a concern as far as.
It wasn't a concern from those two individuals that I spoke with, and
Look at the photograph, you can see that the duck pond is pretty well covered with algal growth.
right. So yes, that involves some manual raking, but to hit those with the chemicals upsets that very small, very tiny ecosystem to the point where, and you guys know the history, they treated it, the 1 year, and then that cleared everything out. And then by clearing everything out, that created a larger algae bloom. And then that algae bloom had to be treated, and that got treated heavily enough that it was good for 2 seasons. And so everybody was telling me, we just don't need to touch it. Find a way to manually clear it out for Kids Fish Day.
I have no clue. I had no doubt what to do or not do.
So I called Sav and they did not return my call, and left a message. In discussions with, I'm sorry, I had it all in the packet, but, I didn't, what's his name?
Heather?
Well, no, the other gentleman. It just,
Barons again?
Barron's again, yeah. Yeah, so he said that there was a group of volunteers that came through, and that in the park barn, there's some rakes. It's just, it's labor intensive, takes a little bit of planning, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with the things that you scrape away. So I can go explore that further. I can see what's in our inventory there at Veronica Valley. And I can keep trying to reach out to Savin, because I was told that he does have those tools. So that might be an option. Say, hey, look, we just need you to clean it out. We'll haul it off, something like that. But I haven't been able to get him to return my call yet.
I mean, I'm familiar with the little ponds at, the Dunes Golf Course.
Mhm.
They've got some of their workers who go out a couple times a year with these things that they throw out into the middle of the pond, and they drag back, and they essentially cut everything that's 6-8 inches below the water.
Yeah, and that seems to be kind of a good indicator of the best way to manage that. I mean, if they have to keep those nice, for paying customers, that just seems to reinforce that decision. And, we'll reach out to them. We'll reach out to some of these golf courses and find out what they have if we don't have it.
I mean, as far as getting volunteers, I've read a couple things where the person who was leading that effort has either passed away.
Yeah, we're gonna have to reinvent all that. And I can get as much information I can as far as technique and equipment, and that's what I can. That's the direction I'm ready to head in.
As equipment wise, but now people wise, labor wise, we're looking at. Miles, the Veronica Valley Committee to.
Or we may do that, or we may come back and, Saban may come back and say, yeah, we can come in and do it. Just give us direction at what you want, and we will do that. We may write them. I think what we may do is say, thank you for your offer, but here's what we need for this year. And we'll just make it quite clear, see if they're willing to do it. If not, then we can turn that around.
Some of the golf courses might have recommendations of companies they work with too.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, Steve, I hate to interrupt.
No, you can't talk. You can't talk. It's not public
He's the
comment.
reason I.
No. Hang on. So when is Fish Day?
Last Sunday,
June.
Yeah,
Second Saturday of June.
Sunday.
Second
Fourth.
Well,
It's gonna be the fourth Sunday. Last year I put it on the fifth Sunday and was told it should have been on the fourth, but all the information was out. But Brian Booth is the fellow you're talking about in Indiana Stroke. His son and him still came in last year. And my son and I got a canoe. I got a little electric motor on it. We go and we just cut everything up. We did use the rake some. Frankly, that rake's pretty useless though.
Okay.
We just used a big net and pulled everything in that we could. And you can do that by hand. I'm pretty sure we can find volunteers to do it as far as the cost to the county. So if you just leave that up to the Kids Fish Day Committee, we'll get her cleaned out for Kids Fish Day.
Good.
I don't know later on in the year. I didn't think there was a problem later in the year with weeds. I mean, it seemed like.
That was the consensus of both those individuals. It was like, the goal was to make it fishable for that event.
Yeah.
And then it manages itself.
And we can do that, just
Well,
crude as it may sound.
as crude, it's not crude, but I mean, but if you know the date, well, we're going to do that. You can start working backwards. Here's when I need to get things, so working with that. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I think this year we'll just say, Saban, thank you, but we've been advised that for this year, we're not going to need any assistance, but now that we have the record straight, remember us next year, then y'all can make the decisions next year.
Are we confident that we have the equipment to do that?
We did it last year. So.
Yeah, they did it last year. Well, we have enough time to go figure it out.
Okay, because otherwise we could contract them just to do that.
We could, we may even want to send them a letter asking, could they do X? And that's all we want them to do this year. Let them try to get back in good graces.
Well, now that I know that's the direction that that we want to go, I'll contact him again and I'll contact some golf courses and see if we can't find some technique and tools that aid what you already know how to do.
Yeah, and if you get a price from them and it's really low.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sit there,
Heather,
drink coffee and not.
Heather might have some recommendations
Do it.
too.
Yeah, I thought Heather may have some recommendations
Yeah,
too.
or contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay, can I back up one more thing here? You've gone through the bylaws. Can I have you do as a recommendation to proceed with the amendments for the full board, for the full commission?
You want like a vote to?
Yes, please. That's why you're here, to make recommendations for considerations.
I make a motion, we take the recommendation for changes and put them forward.
Second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for watching a bunch of YouTube videos.
Oh, I live for it.
Oh, yes. You ought to save down. He's got it set up down there. Don't try to trick him. He knows where to find people.
Okay, good to know.
All right.
I think he still have a security clearance from the Coast Guard. I have a feeling. I don't know. So it makes me nervous. Anyway, so take it from there. Okay. Last but not least is the update and review of the grant applications. Yeah, would you please?
Everybody able to open the draft of that?
Yes.
The first time I sent it, they all bounced back because the file was so big. So hopefully it reduced enough that everyone was able to open it.
I clicked print before I realized that I could probably just have not printed the last 50 pages.
I know.
Well, we're sorry you did all of that. Okay.
So I did go through and just did a cursory round of edits. I did receive 3 more letters of support. Thank you very much.
So now we got a total of 5.
5.
Yeah.
And at least 2 more coming in support of the project from Kim, who came in and spoke about the accessibility playgrounds. So she and a colleague are both going to be writing a letter. So we'll be in really good shape with letters. But of course, if you are feeling inspired or know someone who would like to submit a letter, I don't think we can have too many. Most of the requirements have been satisfied. Our attorney signed the documents he needed to sign and wrote the letter that we have site control. I think now we're just waiting on the public hearing, which, as you know, and I'll send out a reminder, is scheduled for the 18th at 6 p.m. There's a resolution of support ready for the Board of Commissioners, which will also be included in the application. And then
And that'll happen at the 6:30 meeting.
at the regular session.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Regular session that night. And it's been written in such a way that you recommend it and all this kind of stuff. And I think what we'll have on your 19th meeting, that you can also have another letter coming from the board that's been voted on that we'll put in there.
Yes, I think that would be a good idea. So
Yeah.
we have the resolution of support signed by the chair of the Board of Commissioners. And then we should also have something signed by the Parks and Rec Commission to include. I don't think we can have too much as far as that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we can't have too much. Let's make it thicker. So if there are edits or things that are like really glaring, there were just a few grammatical things that I'm
I went
nitpicking.
through it, so I can go through what I've got here.
Okay, yep, let's do it. Yep.
Okay, the very first page, we are District 103. We are Senate District 38. And we are US Congressional District 1.
Okay.
I don't know if the program will allow you to do spell checking, but the words Meeburg Creek, the Meeburg part is spelled several different
It's,
ways.
I noticed that as well. I did an edit specifically for that word, so yes.
Okay, so I saw a number of occurrences where it says Melbert,
Mhm.
MELBERT, so if we can get rid of those. that's fine. That was just a whole general comment. Next page. This is just my nitpicking. There, and there's right now it says there is currently existing.
Yep, that is highlighted on mine as well.
Okay, there's, you take out the word is.
I have reworked it a couple different ways and I asked Tiffany for her judgment on that.
Okay, simplest one. The next line, it says includes a crushed stone.
Yep, I have
That
that.
should just say include.
Mhm. And at the bottom, it should say included and not just include.
I didn't catch.
Ah,
Okay,
Okay, on the page for section D, justification of need. This is where I'm confused. Is this a duplicate application that has been previously applied for funding under one of our recreation grant programs? And right now, the answer says yes, and I believe that answer should be no.
well, there was an application submitted in 2008 that included a pathway and a pavilion all together. And it was not funded. So all of the documentation was still living in the DNR website. So and I can confirm this with Tiffany, but I believe we do need to consider this as a duplicate application because it is an overlapping project,
Okay.
but I'll confirm.
Next one is under section I, natural resources, recreation opportunities. The paragraph at the bottom of the page.
I'll go back actually to section D. At the bottom under list communities, there are a couple of grammatical edits, and then I also asked her to update the Parks and Recreation Commission as we are submitting it under our new commission.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't highlight those. I've got a note that says, obviously, yes, Parks and Rec Commission and the members should be the current members, not the previous.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then actually, the first paragraph under 7, the park will continue to be maintained.
In its,
Mhm. Okay.
and then we need to expand under where media is listed. That needs to be fleshed out as well.
Now I'm back to section I, unless you got something between that. Paragraph at the bottom says the Parks and Recreation Division, change division to be commission.
okay.
Section J, public access opportunities. Where it says 24 hours, so under the from column, just
Mhm.
change that to be the word dawn. They're open, the park is open from dawn to dusk,
Yeah,
so let's just change it to dawn to dusk.
Unless special, because don't we have certain things that go
Well,
on?
Well, I thought it was Miles Kimmerly that had the weird thing where the kids are there from like midnight to 4 AM or something.
well, last
don't
year,
have-
they weren't,
But
simply because the group that's doing it isn't an organization, 501c3 that has an insurance policy, and I don't want school kids running around out there that no one's gonna.
I just wonder if our hands are tied, if we say it's only open from dusk to dawn, and who knows, from somebody comes up and says, we want to have this youth thing, camp out or something overnight. And-
Well, I'll tell you what, we put that down as a question mark, which gives us more points, because we're trying to get the points. So if that's going to restrict us, yeah. Okay. Talk to you. Is that fair enough?
Your application narrative, no, that was where Nebert was spelled MELBERT.
And Parks and Recreation Committee needs to be changed to commission.
Next page in there.
On Kids Fishing Day, is there an apostrophe somewhere in there? Is it just Kids Fishing Day? Is it the Kids Fishing Day or is it the Kids' Fishing Day?
Kids, that's possible. The kids is.
I'm just trying to remember how I put it.
I thought it was youth. I thought I
Okay.
saw
I don't
youth in
know.
there
I don't think I do put an apostrophe on there.
Okay,
Yeah, just, yeah.
all right.
Can go either way. I forgot that flyer too, I'm sorry.
I've got the third line under natural resources, access and protection. Remain accessible year round via mowing.
Mown pathways.
Mowed and groomed.
We don't groom them.
We don't groom them with the cross-country trails?
Mm-mm.
I thought we had a group.
We don't have a, as far as I know, we no longer have a groomer. There's, the trails are kind of self-trenched. Okay, but I can,
Yeah, because I thought last year we discussed that they had something behind the quota to run over the trails. I thought
That people are cutting
Something you're
trail
aware
every
of?
time for the first time they use it.
Yeah.
But I don't, let me double check.
we'll confirm. And then I had a question at the bottom of this, and this might just be that it's being written by somebody who's not directly in this area. But where it says public transportation options, about halfway down on access and protection, it says including the Leelanau network of Northwest Michigan. I wasn't sure if we should change that to, I mean, maybe not Beta, but their parent organization or something. It's just, it stood out to me and I was like, that doesn't look quite right. Leelanau network of Northwest Michigan. That doesn't sound right to me.
No.
Yeah.
So that was on my list of things to check.
I mean, I know they can use the dial-a-ride to get there, right?
Right, so that was just my question is what do we change it? Do we change it to Beta? Do we change it to Networks Northwest?
Beta is the organization you're calling.
Yeah.
I
More
mean,
public transportation services.
I think it needs to be named specifically which one, because she specifically asked, is there dial-a-ride? And we said, yeah, through Beta.
The dial-a-ride falls under Beta.
Yeah, all that falls under Beta.
Yeah. And then the paragraph above that, it says committee again, that'll change to commission, and then Mebert was misspelled again.
My last thing is on the notice of intent for recreation grant projects.
Mhm.
And it says annual fishing, take out, to change the word tournament to be event, not really a tournament.
Well, it depends.
Make it-
Who can eat the most hot dogs?
It was almost chaos when you ran out. Those kids were getting up there fancy.
I know, when I first met you, yeah. You were close to panic mode.
The first time I met Richard, he came in and thought he just wanted to look around. And just about the time we ran out of hot dogs, I says, Richard, you gotta get your truck. Go get some.
You gotta go get hot dogs.
Go to Hanson's and get some.
You
more
gotta
dogs.
run down to Hanson's. Poor guy.
Then I had a question, because
Well, I've got one more statement on that. Under the 8B purpose, the last lines says accessible paving, and it should, I think, be parking.
I think you're right.
I think as far as the ADA requirements, you have to have a paved or cemented drop-off point or something like that, if you really wanted to call it ADA compliant.
Yeah, and it says that it's paved throughout the application, that it's ADA compliant paved parking, which means it'll also have to be striped as such, and the signage will have to be there as well.
Right now it says paved universally accessible paving.
Mhm.
Should be paved universally accessible parking.
Mhm.
This is a small thing, Lauren, but right above that on 8A, there should be a space between 93 and acres.
Yep. It's not a small thing. And then when we submit the application on April 1st, We technically will have a new administrator. Right now, Richard, you are listed as the point of contact. Would you like
Well,
to?
we are going, well, no, we will put the new administrator in there, but we're gonna submit this on March the 27th.
Mhm. So then we leave your name on it?
No,
Okay,
New administrators.
yeah, but we want to get it submitted, so we're not doing this on the 31st. Let's get it done while we're here, so.
Mhm.
And if you need the extra day, you got it, so.
okay.
There's also a period for C and D and E, but not for A and B. At that
Okay.
time.
Got it. Okay. And the rest is, the rest of the application is the correspondence and documentation that is enclosed. That's it.
Thanks. You see anything else or any other thoughts? Fire away to Lauren and she'll get it
Be as
coordinated.
picky as you'd like. I don't mind at all.
No, she has to live with me, so she doesn't. She doesn't mind because she gives it all back to me, so.
Now, I wasn't gonna edit the people's letters.
No, no,
A couple of going.
No,
This is a lot of work and you've done really well.
Oh, I've done so Tiffany with MCSA has done a lot of the compilation. So we've been working in
You're
conjunction with
keeping it
them.
going, so thank you.
Thanks.
Now, as far as when you submit the grant, then do the underwriters want to come out and visit, do a road trip per se, or they just take their information off paper?
I do not know.
They might. I did a training a couple weeks ago with DNR and they walked through the timeline of these grants, and I think it depends. But they did say that on some projects, they will send people to come and do site visits and that will happen over the summer before the awards are made.
Do we get free notice of an inspection?
We will.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way we can put on the best.
Yeah,
The award usually occurs at the end of September.
I believe so, but I couldn't tell you.
if the last one I went to is something like that, they go through. There may be a group that'll be asked to go and make a presentation. They get it down because I had to do this 2 years ago. And you do a presentation through it all. And then you go back and they say, thank you very much. And then about a month later, they're going through at their meeting. They're going to go through the list. And if you're on that list, you'll see the list because they'll rank them all. I'm going to recommend that you be at that meeting. You're eyeball to eyeball with these people. And that's what we did. We were there and we were on the front row and they knew us by first name. You know, we just made it. So if you get the cut, you want to make sure you're there to show yourself. They move them around everywhere. It could be, I think when we did that one, we were in Lansing. The one that I had to go through the other time, I was up, where were we? We were up in like
Well, and
Sault Ste. Marie.
I think our region, like we have our own grant coordinator. No, she's in, she's further south, but for our region. So it would be working with like the coordinator and the inspectors for our general region.
Planning Region 10, right?
I don't have it in front of me.
Right, that's what it's on right on the back of the page. We just look at it.
Oh,
But they will go through and they're going to put a bunch of points to all this and they'll do whatever you'll know before. They will go through a listing, and if you make the first cut, then you're going to be asked to come and make a presentation. You know, it's just, there is a process. And you do it at one of their monthly meetings, wherever they're going to hold them, because they do go out throughout the state, because that commission, the people that make the final decision, try to go throughout the state. So, you know, just be ready, you know, and if you can be involved, great. So.
You need any motion from this group?
No, we're just keeping you informed and, you know, where we were on this one.
Mhm.
Go back to one thing here. I forgot on one thing I wanted to touch base with. Bylaws. I just want to point out one thing. You know, go back to section 6.5 committees. Underneath the executive committee serves as the finance committee, which you will be asked to, you know, conducts budget preparation and provides general oversight. But you had in there including review of monthly agendas and monthly meeting minutes. I don't think you really need it. That's what,
We struck that.
okay, we did. Okay, struck. Okay. Then I must have
We
missed
stopped
that.
at the word oversight.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Got it. Okay,
All right.
thank you. By next Wednesday, I will send out a quick reminder to everybody that we're having our meeting on the 19th. Anyone that has, and I have things that I know is going to be on the agenda, but if anybody has anything else, then they can get a hold of us.
I will send you an email. I have a list of about 9 things that we should probably see if they should be on the agenda.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Well, how do we move forward with the gazebo work?
First of all, is that the highest priority of all your listings? So, I mean, but that's all fine. Y'all can have that discussion, so.
The one that's been budgeted for this year.
Huh?
It's the one that's been budgeted.
Well, the question is, do you do that or do you build a new one?
Well, the question is, we have to get the Parks and Rec Commission to agree that we will go for a replacement as opposed to a refurbishment. And then we will proceed down that path.
Because the
My
current,
opinion is I've come around to the opinion that we really should do a replacement and not.
because, here it is not, if you ever wanted, here you're not making it ADA compliant. And it's not, it's nice, but it's not on any historical register thing, so. But that's a discussion we can have later. Okay, just send them if you want, okay. That's it.
Any public comment as we close up? None, so to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Ed.
And you're done well before your 4:15 quit time.
Thank you. And thank you for agreeing to meet. It helps a lot. So,
I'm gonna end this Zoom from my phone, and I'm gonna see if it shows me on the camera.
Charles, thank you.
Welcome.